And what's up, everybody? I'm back with another predictions video. Of course, that time of year again for the 2024 NFL playoffs are set, ready to go, and I'm today going to do my predictions for each game, and of course, pick the Super Bowl. It was a very exciting year for my Lions, and we will get to them in a little bit. But we got 14 teams entering the ring after a very competitive season and everything like that. So, of course, as I do every year, I'm going to go through, predict each of the games, and then at the end, I will predict the winner of the Super Bowl and also this final score. I'm not going to do a score for every game. Some I might, some I might not. We'll see. But anyways, let's just jump right into it, shall we? So we will start in the AFC with the wild card games. The first game of the playoffs will be the Chargers at the 5 seed heading to Houston, the 4 seed, the winner of the AFC South. Jim Harbaugh, in his return to the NFL, making the playoffs in his first year, heading to a Houston team that's in a bit of trouble, even though they are coming off of a pretty dominant win. Granted, that was against the Titans, so how legitimate really is it? Who knows? Even so, this could go either way. I think the Chargers are the better team, but Houston is at home. Being in the playoffs, home field is huge. And with that in mind, I think I am going to get. I think I'm going to give this one to Houston by a slight margin. I think it'll be a very tight game, probably high scoring game. But I think Houston will win this one either by a late touchdown or even like a walk-off in overtime. It could come down to. So I'm going to give Houston this one. And then in the AFC later that day, it will be 3-seeded Baltimore, winner of the AFC North, going up against their AFC North rival Pittsburgh, a team that's coming into this having lost 4 straight. And I think this will be an easy Ravens win. I think the Ravens are in a better position right now. I think they've got a better overall team. Of course, it's like I said, the Steelers have lost 4 straight. This is a rivalry game. It's going to be a huge one. But I think this one's going to go to the Ravens. I think they're going to win this one pretty handily. But maybe they'll do their playoff, their, what's the word I'm looking for? Patented playoff choke. There we go. Maybe that'll happen in the wild card game. Usually doesn't happen until like the divisional round or the AFC Championship, but we'll see. We'll see. And then our final AFC wild card matchup, the Bills and Josh Allen, the 2 seed winner of the AFC East, hosting Denver. They're making their first playoff appearance since 2015. And I think this is going to be a quick out for the Broncos. They had the second longest playoff drought in the league, but I think the Bills are just going to be too much for them to handle. They had a strong run going, but kind of were limping into the playoffs and like, oh, what about that beat down at Kansas City? Well, if Mahomes and the defense was, all out there full strength, there's a good chance the Broncos could have lost that game, but or at least not won it as handily. And I think just going on the road, Josh Allen, MVP, guy I think who should be MVP, is going to be way too much for them to handle. I think the Bills are going to win this one easily and move on. And then we go over to the NFC. And the first NFC playoff game will be the 7-seeded Packers heading to the NFC East champion, Philadelphia Eagles. And I think this game could really go either way, and there's a lot of factors going into this game. The first is going to be the health of the quarterback. Jalen Hurts has been out for a couple weeks with concussion issues. I feel like he'll be ready to go. I think they were just resting him this past week because they had already locked up the 2 seed. The Packers, on the other hand, they lost Jordan Love early to injury in their last game, and they lost Christian Watson. And the status on them up in the air for what could possibly happen with them. If they don't have either of those players on the field, you can kiss their playoff chances goodbye, because there's no way in hell they're winning without Jordan Love or even Christian Watson. But if they've got those 2 players back and they can produce, or if Hurts is out, the Packers would have a chance, but I'm still going to give this one to the Eagles in a 2-score win, though I think it could be a tighter contested game than what the score would suggest. Because, the Packers, they may have sucked against their own division this year, but they only lost one game outside of their division. So, take that as you may. And then the nightcap on Sunday is going to be the 6-seeded Washington Commanders heading to Tampa to face the 3-seed Buccaneers, winners of the NFC South. And the Buccaneers are even lucky to be in this position. They barely got into the playoffs off a tiebreaker, I guess, but had to win on the final week of the season just to get into the playoffs, and they shot up to the 3-seed. And they're going to host the Jane Daniels-led Commanders, who are a feel-good story this year. Jane Daniels has been a great rookie, possible Rookie of the Year candidate. I would definitely keep him in the running for that. But, in Tampa, the Bucs, the season's played out kind of like it did last year. Strong start, terrible middle of the season, but they've come on strong here at the end. But is it going to be enough to take down a strong Commanders team? This is a game that could go either way, and honestly, this could be the best game of the weekend. But I think just because I think just kind of looking at both these teams on paper, I think I'm going to give this one to the Commanders by a slight edge. I could very well see the Bucs winning this game, just like in the Chargers-Texans game. I could easily see the Chargers winning that game. But I'm going to give this one to the Commanders. I think they have a stronger overall team. I just think Jane Daniels is going to be too much for that Bucs defense to contend with. And I think Baker Mayfield he's been hit or miss this season. They've been dealing with some injuries on the offensive end of the ball as well, and I think that's going to come back to bite him in the ass. And I'm going to say that the Commanders win this one. And then the final matchup of Wild Card Weekend, the Vikings at 14-3, but still have to get the 5 seed. They're going to be heading to LA to face the 10-7 NFC West champion Rams. And this could be another contender for game of the weekend, only because the Vikings got exposed pretty damn badly against the Lions last week. And will that come back to haunt them this weekend? Bear in mind, the Rams are the only other team to beat the Vikings this year besides the Lions. They beat them in Week 8 in LA. A lot of Vikings fans complain that should have never even happened because of a face mask call that I don't think, honestly. You know what? They got away with 100 delay game penalties in the Lions game and still lost. So you know what? Suck it. Suck it, Vikings. Suck it. Now, on paper, the Vikings should win this one pretty handily. But again, it's in LA. Sam Darnold got hella exposed. And, the Rams are dangerous. They also had a pretty weak start to the season, but picked it up. They did lose to the Seahawks in last week of the season. But honestly, I don't think that's going to faze them too much. But I'm still going to give this one to the Vikings. Just a slight edge. I think it's going to be closer than it should be. But I'm still going to give it to Minnesota. All right, so that's the wild card round. Now we move on to the divisional round. In the AFC, it would be the Chiefs with their first round bye hosting the Texans. I think this will be an easy Chiefs win. The Texans are going to be really limping into that game. They've also had injuries on the offensive end of the ball. And, if they're even lucky enough to get past the Chargers, I think the Chiefs are going to wreck them, especially in Arrowhead in the playoffs. Chiefs are going to have that extra week of rest. And, they rested all their starters in week 18 as well. So they're going to be fully healthy, ready to go. And I think that's going to be too much for the Texans to handle. The other AFC divisional round matchup, the Bills will be hosting the Ravens. This should be a good game. Lamar Jackson versus Josh Allen in Bills territory. But it's really going to come down to, both these teams have had some great teams over the last few years, but have really not been able to put it together come playoff time to make a deep run. One of these teams is going to have to make a deep run, though, because one of them's got to win this game. I'm going to give it to the Bills just because of home field. This will be another tight game, though. Be a slugfest. Could be a defensive effort. Could be a lot of fuck-ups, but I think it's going to be the Bills are going to win it in just a tightly contested affair. And also because I hate the Ravens more than I hate the Bills. So in the NFC, the Commanders at the 6th seed would be heading to Detroit to face the Lions. And this would be a great game. Jane Daniels, I think, would carve up the Lions defense, even though they're going to get that week off to get a little bit healthier, because they faced a good amount of injuries in week 18, as always. So I think that the week off would help and get them better, but I think Jane Daniels would still carve them up with Terry McLaurin. But you know what? They'd have that offense to contend with. That's also been getting a little bit healthier. They're going to get their linemen some rest. Their receivers have been a little bit banged up. They're going to give them some rest as well, and have that week to prepare. And also being at home, I'm going to give this one a slight edge to the Lions to get this win. But maybe if they have as great of a defensive masterclass as they did against the Vikings, maybe this won't even be that close. We'll see. And then possibly game of the playoffs coming right here. Vikings heading to Philadelphia to face the Eagles in Philadelphia. This, again, could be a great game if Sam Darnold has been playing like he's been most of the season. If he's going to get exposed like he did against the Lions, Vikings are done for. But if he can play up to his potential and he can get Justin Jefferson the ball and they can get the run game going, I think they could very well contend with the Eagles. Of course, Saquon Barkley had a great season. Jalen Hurts playing well with A.J. Brown and all those great receivers. As such, though, give me the Eagles in this one. Mostly because I wouldn't want the Lions to see the Vikings in the NFC Championship game or even the divisional round. It's going to be really hard to beat a team 3 times in a single season. And sadly for the Lions, there are 2 teams in the playoffs that they already beat twice this season. So that would be really hard for them to do. But the Eagles, they haven't played yet this season. So I think that would be one that they could handle. So give me the Eagles in this one. Though it could be a really good game. Could be is the key word, though. And then we move over back to the AFC Championship. The Chiefs hosting the Bills. Wow, such a fucking great matchup. Haven't they met like the last fucking 5 years in the playoffs or whatnot? You know what, though? Give me the Bills. They already beat the Chiefs this year. For their only real loss. I mean, their backups lost to the Broncos in Week 18. Come on. Give me the Bills in this one, though. In Arrowhead, the Chiefs have not looked that great. A lot of their wins have come last-second luck things, last-second late field goal blocks, doinked field goals that just went in, or just some real catastrophic mistakes by their opponents. So give me the Bills in this one to finally break through and make the Super Bowl. Because you know what, Bills Mafia? You deserve it. But not as much as my Lions, who are going to take down the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. This will be another good game if this matchup happens. Because the Eagles are very high-powered, but they're heading into Detroit, another high-powered team. Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley would carve this defense up, even more than Jane Daniels could. And this would be a really good game. Really good game. But obviously, give me my Lions. They're going to be at home. Chance for the Super Bowl on the line. They don't want to repeat any mistakes that happened last year. So do it now. Do it now. Just do it now. Do it now. And that would give us a Super Bowl matchup of the Lions and the Bills. A rematch of Week 15 in Detroit when the Bills won 48-42. In a game that really was not that close. Because the Lions went 3-and-out on their first 2 drives and the Bills never looked back. But the Lions would be healthier this time around. At least hopefully they would be. They begin that first bye week. 2 games at home. And then another bye week before the Super Bowl. They would get Aiden Hutchinson back. Hopefully some other guys on defense like Carlton Davis. They get David Montgomery back. So this, I think, and they already have Anzalone back, though the Bills would also have some players back, so maybe a little bit more breaking even. But in New Orleans, I have to say it. Give me a Lions Super Bowl. Give me a Lions Super Yeah, 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 yeah. Woo, 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 woo. They have too high-powered of a team to not do anything. But knowing the Lions, they'll probably lose to the Packers in the divisional round. Or the Vikings. But anyways, guys, that's my predictions. Oh, final score. The Lions defense, even though it's going to be a lot healthier than it has been, it's hopefully has been. They're going to get Hutchinson back. They're going to get Carlton Davis back. They would get, hopefully, keep a few other players that they already have back. The Bills still have a very high-powered offense, and the Lions defense, even when, even when the Lions defense has been at full strength, like we saw earlier on in the season, they struggled. So I think this is going to be another shootout. Give me the Lions in this one, 36-33. So, guys, though, that is it. That's my predictions. Hopefully, I guess we'll have to see how right I am come Lombardi time. But for now, guys, I want to know your thoughts on my predictions. And drop your own predictions as well in the comment section down below. Let's have some discussions. Let's talk about this. Who do you think is going to win it all? Will it be the Lions? Will it be the Chiefs? God forbid. Will it be the Bills? The Ravens? The Eagles? Or the Broncos? Maybe it'll be the Mets. Let's go Mets, baby. Let's go Mets. Anyways, guys, though, until next time, see you guys later. Goodbye.